G'day there everyone, Daniel Anderson here. Now the wait is finally over. The Microsoft Loop app is out of private preview and into public preview. And in this video, we're going to take a look, first of all, what Microsoft Loop actually is and what the app provides. We're going to take a look and a walk around through the user interface, how we get started, how we create workspaces, how we create components, how we share these, how we work together on this authoring canvas. In future videos, we're going to take a deeper dive into each of these functionalities and take a really good in-depth look at how you can take advantage of Microsoft Loop and the Microsoft Loop application in your day-to-day operations and work. But first of all, what is Microsoft Loop? Look, at the end of the day, Microsoft Loop or a loop is a new type of file. It's something that is easy to use, and dare I say, you can keep everybody in the loop and you can loop people in to create and ideate and work together on the same canvas and ultimately co-create as a group. So we've already seen loop components available in Teams and Outlook and Word and Whiteboard, but they've never really had a home. But now with the introduction of the Microsoft Loop application, they do have a home. We can bring all of these components in together onto pages and really organize our creation and ideation process. Now that does mean that there is yet another app, but that's okay. We can bring everything into a single location. Now the great thing and what I love about these loop components is that everything stays in sync. And we can create a workspace in the Loop application, add a task list, a voting table, paragraphs, bullet points, agendas, and then we can simply take those or extract those components out and you can send them or copy and paste them into different endpoints, Teams chats, emails, but everything stays in sync. You can really meet people where they are and where they decide to start their day or where they decide to work, and everything is live, kept up to date and in sync. So let's take a look at the first step of actually getting started. How do we actually get into the Loop application? All right, so how do we get started with a Microsoft Loop application? Well, we need to navigate first to loop.microsoft.com, where we're going to be presented with this page. Now, in the top right-hand corner, we can see a sign-in button. We click the sign-in button and we sign in with our work or school account. Now, you can also sign in with your personal Microsoft account as well, but in this case, we're going to use a work or school account. So we sign in and then we are presented with the Microsoft Loop app. So let's wait for this to sign in. Then we are going to be taken to the home page, let's say. So here we go. We are on the landing page for Microsoft Loop. This is the page where we will see all of our Loop workspaces. You can see that out of the box, we are presented with a getting started tile here. And this is one that's provided, and I highly recommend that you take a look through this getting started workspace. This is a playground for you where you can test, you can have a look at everything that we can do in the Microsoft app. Now, if your organization is not ready or not prepared for the Loop application, then you will see after logging in a screen that tells you that you are not that Loop is not enabled in your organization. So if that is the case, point your IT department to the link below. There are some things and some steps that they need to do to enable the Loop application for use in your organization. Let's now take a look and a walk through the user interface of a workspace. All right, so let's take a look around the Loop app and Loop workspaces. So as we've already seen, once we log in, we are presented and we are on the Loop homepage. We've got our recent activity and access to our workspaces. So top right-hand corner, we can add a new workspace. We can change the view of our listed workspaces here. And when we hover over a tile, we can see that we've got our ellipses and we've got a few different options that we can do. We can favorite, which I already have. We can rename and style this. So if we want to update our image here, we can select and we can choose a different icon and also the cover and even the name of the workspace here. So we'll update that. That's going to be reflected in that tile. We can also see who the members of this workspace are. We don't have any in this getting started one, but if we did, they would be listed here. Now, to open a workspace, we simply click on the tile itself, and then we are in the workspace. You can see on the left-hand side is our navigation pane. So similar to something like OneNote, where we can create our hierarchy of pages, and we can group all of our pages and nest pages underneath the top page so that we can have a nice organized structure to our workspace. So top left-hand corner here, we can click on the logo. That's going to take us back to the home page of the Microsoft Loop app. And then across in the top right-hand corner of this pane, we've got our alerts, we've got a search functionality, and we've also got the ability, if we want to just focus on our work on this page, to collapse and close the sidebar. Now, if we scroll down a little bit further here, we've got our recent activity, you can see there, and we've also got an ideas section. So this, as you can see on the screen, is where we can create a new page or a component, capture all the ideas in Microsoft Loop, either just for myself or together with others as well. And we'll take a look at that in just a minute. Now, if we keep scrolling down the page here, we've got our workspace title, and this here, when we click, we can navigate between different workspaces that we have created or we are members of. And you can see the purple plus button is where we can create a new page or create a new link. Scrolling down our page, we've got our listing of our pages, okay? So let's go ahead and create a new page. So I'll click the plus button and I'll click create page. Now, we're starting with a blank canvas here, but you can see along the bottom that we've got presented to us, Microsoft Loop gives us some templates that we can start from. We've got project brief, team discussion, project planning, and meeting notes. Now, if I click explore other templates, I'm presented with the template gallery with an expanded list of templates that we can start from. Now let's create a new workspace for our sales and marketing team. So from the left-hand bar here, we can click our getting started workspace that we're currently in, and we can click new workspace to create one from here. Or we can navigate our way back to the Loop homepage, and we can click this purple icon on the right-hand side and create a new workspace. So let's create a new one around a project. So let's call this Project Alpha. We can update the cover image up the top here. So let's pick a nice looking cover image, and we can also pick an icon or select an emoji for our project as well. So let's just scroll down. We'll find a nice little emoji here. And then we will create this workspace. So by default, we're in a blank canvas here. We've got no pages. We're starting with a blank canvas. So we can see here, I've got an untitled page. Now, because we're in starting at a project, we might need a project plan and a place to take our meeting notes. So let's start this page off with the template that's provided for our project planning. So I'm going to click this down here, and I'm going to clear the contents. I like the structure of how this is laid out. So we're going to use it from this section here. So we've now got our project planning page here all set, ready to go. Now we also want a space or a page where we can take our meeting notes. All right. So again, this time from this purple button, we are going to add a new page from this section. And again, we're presented with a blank canvas and with our options of our templates. Now let's click on explore other templates and see what we've got for us. So we've got 10 templates here that we can choose from. We've got decisions, we've got meeting notes, ideas, wikis, stand-up meetings, things like that. So we might use a couple of those for this project. Now, what we're going to do first is we are going to select meeting notes, and we get a look at what this template looks like. So this is a good structure. It looks really good for what we want to try and achieve with this page. So we are going to use this template. It's provisioned for us. It's created. It's got all of our sections ready to go for us. Now, down the bottom here, let's start filling out some agenda for our kickoff, right? So let's go for kickoff, and let's do intro to project team, and we might want to assign this to somebody. So let's go and mention Megan. Okay, so we will put Megan's name here. Now you'll notice here that Megan doesn't have access to this page or this workspace. So we can directly and instantaneously share and notify this with Megan simply by clicking her name. This dialog box is going to appear, and then we can can share and notify and grant access to this particular item. Or in the top right hand corner here, we can share using the button up the top. Now the same thing with the project planning page here. So nobody else has got access to this right now. So what we would need to do is we would need to share this page or share this component with another person or groups of people. So let's go ahead now and add a member to this workspace. So in this instance, I'm going to just hover over the workspace name on the left, and I'm going to click one member. Now we can invite members from this particular dialog box here. So let's invite Megan. We'll also invite Nesta, and then we'll add another person that's part of this project team, and her name is Adele. So we'll pop their names in here and we will invite them, and they will now have access to this entire workspace. All right, so those invites are now being sent out, and then we will have multiple members, and they can start collaborating and co-creating inside of this workspace as well. So once we pop down to here, let's have a look at this project planning table that we've got. So the role, we might go PM, and we might assign this to Adele. All right, so let's go and pick Adele. Now you'll notice here that because we've just invited her to this workspace, we don't need to grant access to her specifically. All right, so we can drag and move these across if we want to, and we can hover over the middle section here and add additional columns if we want to too. So when I click the plus, I can add another column. Now I can click this drop down here in this component, and I can change the column type. So you can see here I've got different column types. I've got numbers, I've got dates, I've got person, I've got voting, and I've got a label as well. So we could add a particular label inside of this column. All right, so there's a lot of things that we can configure in this section. Now, another way that we can share and grant access to people is in the top right hand corner. So if we move our cursor up over this purple button over the share, we can now also share this workspace, share a page link, or share or embed this as a loop component into other different endpoints as well. So what we might want to do is with this project planning page, grab this loop component and then navigate our way to Microsoft Teams, for example. So I'm going to copy this this page as a component. I might then either jump into email, so I can paste this. So if I start up a new email and then send this to Adele, let's say, so I'll send a new email. I will paste that inside the body of this email message, and you can see that I'm grabbing, and it's grabbing all of that component, the contents of that page, and it's embedding that into a component inside of the body of the email. And we can do the same thing in Microsoft Teams. So if we open up Microsoft Teams here, we might have a group chat going on that we're talking about this project, and then we might want to bring in that loop component about the project planning. So let's start up a new chat thread, a chat group with Adele, and then we might also then bring in some other people. So let's go to Adele, let's bring in Nesta, and then also let's bring in Megan as well. All right, so we'll type in a group chat here, and then I'll type in and I'll paste in the compose box down the bottom that same link to that component. And you can see here that is all now bringing that into this group chat. So I'll send that to our group chat, and then what we can now do is we can collaborate on that component, and it doesn't matter what endpoint we are at. So if we're starting our day in Teams, or we're working away in Teams and we're having a conversation in there, we can also now collaborate and work on this loop component, the project planning component there too. Now, what about the different parts of the page, right? So if I jump back into Alex's loop application here, we might want to just share this particular table or this assignment assignments table here. So what we can also do is just extract this part as a component. So when I hover over one of these areas, I can see these 6 little dots here. I can click this and I can create a loop component of this particular table. So when I do that, it actually turns that part into a component, and I can do the same thing. So rather than copying this whole loop page as a component, I can just copy this segment as a component. I can copy that, and now when I go into a chat and I paste that part into this chat, you'll find that it's not the entire page that I'm pasting in as a component, but just that table. All right, so now I've got that table in there, and above in that chat message there, I've got the entire page. So a couple of different ways there which we can extract, and this is the power of Microsoft Loop, is that we can extract these little components and we can share those with different endpoints across Microsoft 365. They're all in sync, they're all live, and we can meet people where they decide to work at any given point in time. Let's now have a look at a couple of other little bits and pieces inside of a loop page. So you can see here, when we're inside of a component, we can click these little chat icons here, and that is going to allow us to provide and start having some modern commenting capabilities. We can again add some reactions to these parts here too. So if we like a particular part of this page, then we can also use our little emojis and reactions here as well. Thumbs up to this one, but then we might also have a comment about this particular temperature check. So what we might want to do here is we might @mention Megan and say, this looks great, let's go. And we can have that as a comment. Now, what's going to happen when I @mention Megan is that she's going to get a little notification in a couple of different places. So in her Loop app itself, so if I drag that across here, what we can see up in the bell icon, you can see that she's just got a little notification to say Alex has mentioned her in a comment. Also via email. All right, so here I've got an email notification that Alex has mentioned Megan in a particular comment. And what's really good about this is that it puts and embeds this component into the body of the email. All right, so I don't even have to leave the email message itself. I'm taken directly to where I am mentioned, and I can then interact with that in here. So I can reply inside of the body of the email. So we've got that there, and if I flick this back across, we can see now that that is live, it's in sync, and I can see the comment thread via the Loop application in this case. So let's now jump back up into this ideas section up the top here, because as we can see here, this is where I can capture all of my ideas. So I might be brainstorming something, a new item or a new idea that I have before I want to share that with everybody else. So let's create a new page in this ideas section, and let's just call this brainstorming. All right, so I've got that. Only I can see this right now. We can start typing. Again, we can still use, and it's the same UI as we saw before. We can start from templates. So let's click on explore other templates. We might have, let's just use this bad idea brainstorm. Okay, so we've got this this template here. Let's just use this template. So it's going to fill that page out for me, and we're good to go. Now, when I'm ready to, when I'm finished my brainstorming, I might want to then share that and bring this directly into a workspace. So what we can do, there's a couple of different icons up the top here. Now in this section here, we can copy the loop component. We can have a look at these shared locations here too, and we can add this page to a workspace. So let's go ahead now and add to workspace. We're going to add this to Project Alpha. So that's now been added there. You can see it's coming up across the top. It's been added to Project Alpha. So let's now go to to our workspace and have a look at where that comes in. So you can see here, this page, it's now added to this workspace. Everybody that's a member of this space now has access to this page. When I click on brainstorming, you'll see that that is now rendered inside of this workspace. All right, there we go, your first-hand introduction to the Microsoft Loop application. So hopefully now you feel like you are in the loop with Microsoft Loop. Now, I highly encourage you to subscribe to the Microsoft 365 Boost newsletter, which you can head over to modernworkcollective.io/subscribe, where I will be diving deeper into Microsoft Loop plus other bits and pieces across Microsoft 365 to help you become that 1% better every single day. Also on YouTube, go over there, hit the bell icon, make sure you get updated for any new videos that do land. And also those of you that are on LinkedIn, head over to the profile, hit the bell icon, follow me there too. There's a lot of content coming out on LinkedIn, YouTube, and also the daily newsletter. So I hope that brings you some value today, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next episode.